Sorry, that was crap opening. I just want to mention, got these from eBay, 3D printed. They're meant to be coasters, but I'm not going to use them for that because they're so cool. Check them out. Type in Transformers 3D printed, I guess. I got these for a good price. Anyway, what I have here. Now, I've done a video on this already, but I'll go into depth on this one. This is obviously Transformers Generation 1's Galvatron, complete, 100% complete with dust included. Now, this is a figure I've had for decades, appropriately. Up until 2019, I never had this bit. So in 2019, I actually got that bit, and maybe 2 years later, oh, can't even get this one on. Yeah, so, and 2 years later, I got his gun, as if he needed a gun. Now, Galvatron is the souped up version of Megatron. I know fans are going to say, oh, it's not Megatron, it's a completely different character. I like to believe it's a souped up version of Megatron. It's kind of like if I were to stop listening to heavy metal and hippie music and start listening to rap and change my look, I'll still be the same person. Aside from that visual, it's battery operated. Right there. That's lasted well. He does make some weird noises based on the switches there. I always thought this was a tail when I was a kid, but middle one, yeah. And third one, you can see a bit of discoloration there. Yeah, so the obvious thing is, why is he grey and the animation is purple with bits of grey? So this is where it gets confusing, so stay with me on this. So the first 2 years of Transformers, the animation was based on pre-existing toys, and then when the movie came around, they switched it on its head and had to base the toys based on the animation models, which is why you get weird looking Cup and Blur and Scourge as well. You know, like Cup is green, even though it does kind of match his comic model, but hey ho. So his Galvatron's tech specs does not give any spoilers. He's listed as City Commander, as is Ultra Magnus, and actually every great Decepticon villain needs a counterpart. So Ultra Magnus was his counterpart. That's why Rodimus Prime was never as big as this. So this is probably one of the most articulate figures of the line, because it's actually got kneecaps and elbows, or as we call it in Britain, bingo wings, because they got big ass tricep things. So I've waffled on enough. What I'm going to get to first is he's technically a triple changer. So I'm going to put him as a gun first. Based on the comics. I never knew how to do this properly. Covering that up. Like I said, I've had this figure since at least the mid-90s. Don't really know what to do with that. There. Yeah, and it does have a button, but it's just aesthetic. It doesn't really do anything. And I'm not supposed to have dust, but it does. Sorry, folks. That seems to be the crux of my collection. Dusty road. And this actually pops into two. I don't know why. Probably save room in the box. Right, put that in. I mean, you can see it's all glittery. That's calling back to my childhood. I remember that. Yeah, so the gun bit doesn't actually do anything. I mean, it does go in and out, but that's really it. So the gun. The button 2. Yeah, that one. Kind of like Shockwave. I guess they've lifted something from Shockwave. Or maybe it is that way up. Yeah, it's just definitely this way up, just to make it cooler. Again, you can still press the buttons there too. Yeah, that is just odd. So next, very quick changeover. That will act as like a thingy, I guess you call it. I don't know what you call it. The last thing that Starscream ever saw. And check that out, he's even got a belt there. There we go. Yeah, look, that looks okay, I guess. And this bit doesn't really know where to go. In the cartoons, I could swear it was on the top, but the the figure has different ideas. So that is the last thing that Starscream ever saw, and obviously you got the legs that they have to go somewhere, I guess. Am I getting this wrong today? There we go, that's much better. Right, ignore the first bit I just mentioned. That's much better. I knew that going into this without actually refreshing my head at one point. So, and the stickers too, which are pretty decent for its age. And unfortunately it's got the yellowing on grey. I didn't know that could actually happen. And again with the slight dust on this, yeah, you can see where that's just gone there, but that's a pretty cool figure for its time. Obviously in season 3, Galvatron was infected by madness after being plunged from Unicron into planet Thrall, I think, into lava. Then Scourge, Cyclonus and the Sweeps rescued him. I bet they regretted that. Like, you can guess as a kid, you think, well, that's a tail, but it's not. And these flappy bits, I don't know what they are. And there's tiny feet. Oh. That bit goes up. There's a lot of back stuff there. A lot of business going on in the back there. I mean, compared to the other G1 toys, this is pretty good. They really hit the mark on this one. If you check out the UK comics or even the US comics, Galvatron is coloured more or less like this. And Kibble, oh, there you go. And as if you needed anything else, there is extra gun, kind of like Megatron had an extra gun, even though you got a big ass cannon hanging on your right hand. But that's probably one of the best looking G1 figures, and I'm glad it's got all of his stickers more or less intact. I'm sure there's some missing, but and just to show you, his eyes do light up when that happens, making all those weird noises. Like I said, I've had this figure for decades. Well, only a matter of 2 or 3 decades. Obviously, the character was a reformation of Megatron when he was damaged in the movie. So technically, I'm on the argument that he's still Megatron, just wearing a different costume, kind of thing. Obviously, in season 3, he seems to know everyone's names without hesitation. But he was mad in season 3, and when Prime came back, cured the hate plague, supposedly cured his madness too. You do get some sane moments out of Galvatron, but then again, he's a leader with not very inept soldiers, basically. You can understand that. He's like the Basil Fawlty of the Decepticons. It's like, just one day I can do something right. But we never will. Decent sized figure, probably about roughly the same size as Ultra Magnus, because they are sworn enemies, and if you've read the G1 comics, they have hell's amount of battles. Is that even a phrase? Just to say, they go at each other's throats quite a lot. They even got caught in an explosion of a volcano, and spoiler alert, they survive. Takes a while to dig them out though. Galvatron seems to go off on his own, and Ultra Magnus is seen buried in it, but check that out. I forget which story it is. And I think I've waffled on enough, so if you like what you see, like and subscribe, and gonna plug these again. eBay coasters, but they're really cool coasters, so I'm not gonna use them as coasters. Maybe I should have put it in the back there. This has a cool background thing, but not today. Or even just stand. Well, not really. Autobot Decepticon, cool. So, like and subscribe and keep me going, and there'll be plenty more. I've actually gone into WWF territory with some of my old figures. I've really dug out some cool stuff recently, so be sure to check that out, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you again later. Thank you for watching.